All right, thanks, guys. Happy Sunday afternoon. 1 o'clock games underway, but we do already have some lines out for Monday's MLB action. But before we get into that, I just want to give a quick shout out, a big thank you to my headline sponsor for today's program, Jimmy and the boys at ghostpicksats.com. And if you like making money on sports, there's no reason why you shouldn't check out one or more of their very affordable money-making shoe box blasting packages. That's Jimmy and the boys at ghostpicksats.com. That's ghostpicksats.com. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our Monday slate of baseball games and personal leans. Beginning with Phillies Mets, 4:10 East, first game of a doubleheader tomorrow in Flushing, Queens. Flip of the lines in this one already as well. The Fightins open plus 105. They're now laying $1.30. Totals at 7.5. 58% of the betting public is still leaning toward Philadelphia. And at the moment, we got Zach Eflin for the Phils, Zach Wheeler for the Mets. New York's just 3-16 in their games at the current moneyline price. They've also won just 20% of their games as the official home dog. Now, total-wise, we're looking at 0-3 to the over in these teams' 3 head-to-head matchups as well. 0-4 to the over in these teams' 4 head-to-head matchups as well. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Phillies outright and the under 7.5. Next game, Nationals-Pirates, 7:05 Pittsburgh. 10-cent move toward the Nats in this one as Washington open $1.05 up to $1.15. Totals at 9 flat. 75% are still leaning Washington. And at the moment, we got Jeffrey Rodriguez for Washington, Ivan Nova for Pittsburgh. The Pirates are winless in their 4 head-to-head matchups with the Nats this year. They're also taking on a Washington squad who's won their last trio of ball games. Now, scoring-wise, 2 out of both teams' last 3 games got over the line respectively. So all told, I'm going to take the Nationals in the over, 9 even. Next game, Brewers, Marlins, 7:10 Miami. And no surprises here as we are seeing a 10-cent fade of the fish in the early going already. Milwaukee opened $1.55 up to the $1.65 favorites. Total opened 8 down to 7.5. Currently, 79% of the tickets are shaded toward the Brewers. And at the moment, we got Chase Anderson for the Brewers, Jose Urena for the Marlins. We're looking at a Marlins squad who's still a winless. They're still winless in their 4 head-to-head matchups with the Brewers. They're also a bleak 3-14 in their games where Jose Urena makes the start. Now, scoring-wise, Milwaukee's gone just 5-12 to the over in their games where Chase Anderson made the start. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee run line in the under 7.5. Next game, Rangers, Red Sox, 7:10 Boston, and no surprises here as Boston's taking early money already. They opened up as the $2 favorite up to the $2.15 favorites. Totals at 9.5. 71% are still leaning Boston. And at the moment, we got Mike Minor for Texas, Eduardo Rodriguez for Boston. The Red Sox have gone a stellar 14-3 in their games where Rodriguez made the start. They're also taking on a Texas squad who's winning a piss-poor 16% of their games played at the current moneyline price. Now, total-wise, Texas has gone just 15-28 to the over in their games away from home. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Red Sox and the under 9.5. Next game, Reds, Indians, 7:10 Cleveland. And as expected, a little 10-cent move toward the Indians already. They opened $1.60 up to $1.70. Total was 9.5 down to 9 even. And at the moment, 77% of the public bettors are leaning toward the Indians. We got DeSclafani for the Reds, Clevinger for the Indians. Now, Cleveland's a notable 26-11 as the official home favorite. They're also taking on a Cincy team who's won just 7 of 22 at the current market price. Now, total-wise, 5 out of 6 Anthony DeSclafani starts did get over the line. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Indians run line in the over 9 flat. Next game, Tigers, Rays, 7:10 Tampa. and a 20-cent move toward the Rays in the early going here. Tampa open 165 up to 185. Totals at 7.5. 65% are still leaning toward the Rays. And at the moment, we've got Francisco Liriano for the Tigers, Chris Archer for the Rays. And speaking of Tampa, they've had a pretty good run as of late, going 10-4 straight up in their last 14. They're also taking on a Detroit squad who's winning a pitiful 16% versus teams allowing under 4 runs per contest. Now, scoring-wise, Liriano starts did go just 4-9 to the over so far on the season. So all that said and done, I'm going to take the Rays run line in the under 7.5. Next game, Phillies-Mets, second of the double dip, 740 Flushing Queens. The Phils are taking money in that one as well. Open $1.60 up to $1.70. Total open 8 down to 7.5. 69% are still leaning toward the Phillies. And at the moment, we got Aaron Nola slated to take the bump for Philadelphia. Corey Oswalt projected for New York. And speaking of the Mets, they're winning just 20% of their games as the official home underdog. They're also taking on a Philly squad who's winning a ridiculous 89% of their games played at the current moneyline price. Now, total-wise, all 4 head-to-head matchups between these two squads fell under the line. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to take the Phils run line in the under 7.5. Next game, A's-Astros, 8-10 Houston. No surprises here as Houston opened 240 up to 250. Totals at 8.5. 76% are leaning toward the Astros. And at the moment, we've got Montas for the A's, Garrett Cole for the Astros. Houston's a ridiculous 15-3 in their games where Garrett Cole makes the start. They're also a staggering 8-1 in their 9 head-to-head contests with Oakland. Now, scoring-wise, Oakland's gone 6-1 to the over in their Montas starts so far on the season. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Astros run line in the over 8.5. Next game, Royals Twins 8-10 Minnesota. The Twins are taking money at the moment. Open $1.80 up to $2. Totals at 8.5. 73% are still leaning toward the Twins. And at the moment, we got Danny Duffy for Kansas City, Jose Barrios for Minnesota. The Twins are taking on a KC ball club who's winning just 24% of their ball games as the dog. Even worse, the Royals are on a terrible winless streak, losing their last 8 straight. Now, total-wise, Danny Duffy starts went 12-6 to the over thus far in the season. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to take the Twins run line in the over 8.5. Next game, Dodgers Padres 10-10 San Diego. The Dodgers were 240 up to 250. Totals at 7 flat. 67% of the action is still shaded toward the Dodgers. And at the moment, we are looking at Kershaw for Los Angeles, Louis Perdomo for San Diego. Now, the Padres are just 1-4 in their games where Perdomo made the start this season. They're also taking on a Dodgers team who's winning 80% of their games at the current market price. Now, scoring-wise, the Dodgers did go 13-3 to the over in their games at the current posted total. So all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers run line in the over 7 even. All right, next and final game for the show, it is going to be Cubs-Giants 10-15 San Francisco. And we're actually looking at a 10-cent move in favor of the Cubbies. Chicago opened $1.10 up to $1.20. Totals at 7.5. 68% of the tickets are still shaded toward the Cubs. And at the moment, we got Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs, Andrew Suarez for the Giants. But despite the slight fade of the San Fran Giants in the early going here, they've actually been pretty good in front of their home crowd, going 27-16 in their games at AT&T Park. They're also taking on a Cubby squad who's just 6-11 in their games where Kyle Hendricks made the start. Now, oddly enough, Hendricks' starts did also go just 6-11 to the over as well. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to take the Giants, getting a good price at home with the under 7.5. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just have to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're hurting yourself each and every day you're not subscribed. I also want to remind you to check out my headline sponsor, Jimmy and the Boys, at GhostPicksATS.com. Jimmy and his team of young, hungry, expert consultants at Ghost Picks are the most passionate in the business. And if you thought I was good at handicapping games, these guys are amongst the best in the industry. And as always, thank you for watching today's program. I hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage.